What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, Panthers Advice. Today, man, we're going over the 2025 schedule over here on the right. All right, 2024 is over here on our left, and we're gonna get to that in a second. But for the 2025 part, let's talk about it. Preseason, week 1 against the Browns. Now, does this mean anything? In theory, it doesn't, but it also does because the Browns are gonna have Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon, all right, and Shedeur Sanders most likely playing in that week 1 game. If not both, at least one of them. And what it's going to test for the Panthers is our edge rushers, right? You take out DJ, you take out Patrick Jones. It's rookies, right? It's Princely and it's Nick Scorton, all right? And we're going to see, okay, coming to the NFL, where are they at? Are they at the base right here? Are they maybe a couple levels up? So week 1, I'm excited to watch just for that, right? To see the defense and see our young edge rushers. Week 2 against the Texans, I don't really have much input on that. And then week 3 has potential to be interesting. And the reason I say it like that is it depends if Dave plays the starters at all, right? Steelers have a good front seven. Secondary, I don't know for sure. But their front seven, it's pretty good. So if the run game's not there, all right, we're going to see Bryce Young and his weapons, McMillan, Jimmy Horn potentially, Thielen, how does he play, right? We're going to see everybody, including all those other 50 receivers we have on that team. So week 3, I'm excited to see that because I got to think the starters will play at some point, and you're going to see just how good our offense potentially looks or doesn't look. But let's jump into week 1 real quick. So last year, week 1 was against the Saints. This year, it's against the Jags. To me, the Saints are potentially going to be the harder matchup, right? If you go look at this a year from now. The reason I say that is I like our chances against the Jags because, one, I felt like Carr was a better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence. And two, the Jags aren't doing what the Saints did on defense. The Saints had some exotic blitzes. I mean, they had guys shooting in the A, B, C gap. You name it, all right, they were shooting in. All right. On top of that, they put a lot of man coverage. If you look at the Panthers receivers last year, you play man coverage with the right DBs, I mean, you're going to shut the Panthers down, right? If you get a lead. Now, that's not saying the Panthers can't compete, but if you got a lead and you forced the Panthers to throw the ball last year and played man coverage, you had a good chance of beating them, all right? This year, week 2, Cardinals. Last year was the Chargers. I mean, Chargers just ran all over us, and that proved to be the biggest weak point on the defense all year long. Week 2 is against the Cardinals. James Conner did his thing last year late in the game. I feel like the Panthers kind of choked that a little bit. They still won, right? But I look at this, I'm like, okay, Chargers, Cardinals, I'd almost rather play the Cardinals. So week 1, week 2, I kind of like our chances. Then we jump to week 3, all right? And week 3 is going to be interesting because I felt like the two edge rushers, for the most part, that the Panthers fan base wanted all off season long was Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. Now, there was a couple other guys you could put in there, but I'm talking from February to May. Those are two of the biggest names. All right, then they got two big safeties too. So we're going to find out just how good Jalen Walker or James Pierce Jr. have the potential to be week 3. That one I'm excited to see because it's going to be a hell of a matchup, to be honest. Then we got week 4 against the Patriots, and I'm mixed on this. And the reason I say I'm mixed is as I look at the Patriots offseason, right? Because if this was last year when we played the Patriots, I'd be perfectly okay with it. But as I look at their offseason, they got Stephon Diggs, Harold Landry, all right, Robert Spillane, Carlton Davis. They got starting pieces. And then you look who they drafted. Plus, hold up. Plus, they got Milton Williams, all right? And then who did they draft? They drafted Will Campbell, all right, 4th overall, Trayvon Henderson, running back, Kyle Williams, receiver. The Patriots have made some moves. All right, they've made some moves. Mike Vrabel has taken that team back to its core, right? Straight fundamentals, win in the trenches. That's another game where I'm excited to see because the Patriots, they got a lot of pieces, and I think this is going to force Bryce Young to throw the ball. I think up till then, potentially we can run the ball, depending on how good the edge rushers are for the Falcons. But week 4 is going to be, I think, the ultimate test for Bryce Young. Week 5, to me, that all depends what's going on with Tyreek Hill. You know, he keeps making these cryptic posts, this, and a third. If Tyreek Hill's not there, I mean, they still got Achane, but I like our chances against the Dolphins if Hill's not there. If Hill's there, then you start to get in trouble with the Panthers a little bit because if J.C. Horn is picking up Hill, and I guess it wouldn't always be JC Horn because Ebrio doesn't have them switch sides, right? That's where you kind of get into trouble because you got Tyreek Hill potentially on Mike. It's tough. All right, then we jump to the Cowboys. The good old Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys one is interesting. All right, you got Dak Prescott. Dak's pretty good during the regular season. All right, running backs Javonte Williams out of Denver, and they got Miles Sanders now. So we're gonna see what kind of happens there. To me, I think Miles went to another team where the offense it doesn't fit him. It feels more of a I don't know. It's not really a zone offense unless their coordinator is going to switch it up. I don't really understand that move by Miles Sanders right there. All right, they got CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, and Jalen Tolbert. Tolbert's got that speed. Pickens, I mean, you never know what you're going to get. And they got Mingo. So they got Miles Sanders and they got Mingo. This is going to be interesting. All right. Sanders and Mingo week 5? Week 6? Week 6? Defensively, I think front seven, they can be ran on. But as far as secondary purposes, they got Deron Bland. All right. They got Trayvon Diggs. It's going to be up to the slot guy then to step up at that point, right? That's what's going to happen right there. So the Cowboys, I think we have the potential to run on them, and we'll see, right? And then can we stop the offense? Can we stop CeeDee Lamb and Pickens? I mean, I think if you get inside Pickens' head, you can stop him, but that's going to be an interesting game to see. And then we go to the Jets. The Jets, it just comes down to Justin Fields, right? How good can he do with the offense? You got Buffalo. Buffalo's going to be tough. I'm not going to lie to you. All right, Buffalo is going to be tough. You got the Packers with Jordan Love. It's a tough 2-game stretch right there. Then we jump to the Saints. The Saints look to be in a rough position because they don't even know who their starting quarterback is going to be. All right, then we go to the Falcons. Again, we went over them week 3 versus week 11. It'll be interesting to see once again whose rookies develop more, all right, within that 8-week span. Then we go to the Niners. Okay, the Niners, they're kind of on the downfall, but they're always the Niners. They've always got a great coach. You know, they're going to be run heavy. So by week 12, hopefully we've learned how to stop the run or we might be in trouble. Then we jump to the Rams, and the Rams is one I don't know for sure about because their team started clicking late last year, right? But then they got rid of a lot of pieces on offense and defense if you combine the two. So the Rams could be a tough one. Bye week, come out of the bye, you play the Saints, Bucks, all right, Seahawks, and Bucks again. I'm shocked we played the Bucks week 16 and then week 18, to be honest with you. I'm a little bit confused by that scheduling. All right, because that's two division games in the last 2 of the 3 weeks against the same team. That's interesting. That is really interesting, to be honest with you. And Seahawks, they lose DK Metcalf, so we'll see how do they recover from that. Overall, I mean, let's look at this from a certain analyst perspective. So let's say, hypothetically, this kind of 4-game window, or at 3, the Bills, Packers, Niners, and Rams. Let's say they lose those 4, hypothetically speaking, obviously, right? So Bills, Packers, Niners, Rams. 13 games left. I gotta say, I would think, if I'm being real here, I don't see why we don't win 10-12. You know, I think I said that yesterday in that video. I don't see how we don't win 10-12, to be honest with you. You know, there's going to be a couple games in here where you're going to blow a lead. You know, the team is young. But I like our first 3-game stretch compared to last year. All right, except for the Raiders, obviously. But the Bengals, you know. And the 4-game, the Patriots are kind of in that same position as the Panthers. They have to mesh, they have to gel, and they have to develop together. You know, and Tyreek Hill, if he's not with the Dolphins, I like our chances there. Cowboys, can we run the ball? All right, Jets, can we get pressure after Justin Fields? You know, I really, and not even trying to blow smoke, I don't hate this schedule the first 7 weeks. I think our biggest threat, if I'm being real, potentially Jacksonville with Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. Potentially, but even then, I don't. On the defensive side, I don't know how good they actually are, right? And then you look at Dolphins, maybe with Tyreek Hill. Cowboys, maybe with CeeDee Lamb. Up till week 8, I think we're looking at 5-3. So, I mean, that kind of wraps it up. Again, I'm projecting in that 10 to 12 to 13 win window. You know, I think we might shock some teams and we might slip up against some teams, right? I'm projecting that 10 win to 13 win window. Let me know your thoughts, guys. That's going to wrap it up. Panthers Advice is out. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy. Peace.